Gustavo Vera is from a small city in Ecuador. He was born with a congenital disease called Osteogenesis Imperfecta, a very rare condition also known as glass bones disease. Gustavo is a talented illustrator, designer, architect, and writer that is all heart, with a style as smooth as glass and a story worth raising your glass, too.
Being a kid can be hard. Being a kid with osteogenesis imperfecta, I imagine, is even harder. Gustavo, please share what it was like growing up as a kid with this disease.
It's a bit contradictory because many people might think that my childhood was hard, and of course, due to the fractures and the lack of money in my home, but I think I was, the luckiest child in the world. Um, Ecuador is a country where all the children want to be soccer players, and I was one of them, but I realized that I couldn't. So I decided to fill myself with other things such as comics, art, hip hop culture, and design. And all those things made me one more within the group. So they didn't look at me like they were a kid. They look at me like another kid. And, you know, thanks God, I've never suffered from discrimination and in my childhood, but I'm aware of how hard life is when there is discrimination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. Well, it's wonderful to hear that you grew up with such a beautiful childhood, as you say, with a loving mother, a loving father. So let's switch gears to as an adult. As an adult, what are the challenges that you face with the rare condition that you have? Are there things that what are the challenges?
The biggest challenge I found was finding my place in this world. Finding an activity in which I can put all my skills into practice, being happy and helping others. I always want to be a game changer. So so many times people say that I couldn't study architecture. They told me that for someone who can be on a construction, it can be dangerous for you. And I understood that point of view. I really understood that. But I decided to accept the challenge. And the same happens with footwear design. People say here in this country, no one can live of that. And I remember hearing Eric Thomas said a phrase from Emmy Smith. Emmy Smith said, all men are created equal. Some work harder in pre-season. And my pre-season was all those years in bed, drawing shoes and house, and being the boy who knew things, the boy who my friends loved.
I love that. And I love that quote. So some are excellent at wine pairings. You, Gustavo, excel at Puma pairings. With your artwork, you've paired Pumas with architecture in your Masters of Architecture collection. You've even paired them with Transformers in your Forever Faster concept. Of all of the sneaker pairings that you've done, what is your favorite? And also, what is it about Puma that you love so much?
I have always been in love with Puma. And I know what it represents for the culture. I remember when I was a kid watching videos of Pelé and Maradona wearing Puma and discovering that it's something much bigger than a brand, especially because everything that Puma represents in hip hop culture. From Master of Architecture collection, my favorite model is the Solomon Guggenheim Museum, because its model goes back to the roots. Um, Here, there's no hype, and it's about knowledge. And I'm using the rubber soles. The upper is made of canvas and leather. And when I see these sneakers, I think if I had to save only one pair to go around New York, it would definitely be this one. So I think that in a world where everyone is buying things full of hype and with little content, this shoe gets to tell a story. I think that It's Like Me is a storyteller. It's like Puma. Puma is a storyteller brand, and that's what I love about Puma and these shoes.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just absolutely fell in love with your Masters of Architecture. Just so fascinated by the concept and the way you beautifully displayed and shared what you did. So you are a phenomenal illustrator and designer, and sneakers are just part of your interest when it comes to art. So I'd like to switch gears again, and from designing footwear to designing buildings. So what is it that drew you to architecture?
Well, the love for architectures comes hand in hand with my condition. My parents always took me to the doctor in other cities, and we always used to see the houses and say which one was the most beautiful or which one needed change. And then I understood that a house is not only an object. A house is a place where families love each other, where we laugh, where we cry together. So when it came time to decide on a career, I said I want to build things that become timeless. So I'm passionate about studying how the cities work, and I believe that cities are books that we read with our feet. As Quentin Cabrera said, this is a famous quote about Quentin Cabrera. That's what I love about architecture.
Well, your work is absolutely phenomenal. And the thing of it is, while you're talented, very talented in visual arts, your gifts extend to verbal arts. You have a way with words. With regard to your writing, please tell us about El Mundo de Dante. What inspired you to write this children's story about an autistic boy named Dante?
Well, the world of Dante is one of the most beautiful and sensitive parts of my life, because Dante is not just a character. Dante is a real boy in the real world with a real condition, and that occupies a very special place in my life. The inspiration to write a children's story about a boy with autism came one day while I saw him playing with his toys, and I called him, and even though he wasn't looking at me, I knew and I understood that he was paying more attention when he wasn't looking at me. And so I think you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful boy. So I began to build the character of a child who lives in a world full of colors, full of animals, but without humans. And while he travels and he finds cities, and cities where he learned things that all the good things that our children should learn. Cities with names like love, compassion, respect, or faith. And then I said, I'm going to make it even more special. And I'm going to make a story in verse as a tribute to my love of poetry.
Well, it is phenomenal, and I'm honored that you have given us permission to share it with the world and to publish it in AwareNow.
Of course.
It's such a beautiful story. I'd like to close out our conversation with this question. So it's Virgil Abloh, barrier breaking Black designer, was your inspiration, teacher, role model in so many ways. For those who look up to you, Gustavo, as an inspiration, as a role model, what barriers do you want to break with your work, with your career, to empower others? What barriers do you want to break through?
There's something I learned about Virgil, and is the real barrier that I think we must break down, and is ignorance. I know ignorance is not bad. The bad thing is when we do nothing to get out of it, and when we become one more copy of the system. I don't know if I'm a role model, but if there's something I can say to someone who is looking for a word that inspires them, it's be strong and be brave, because God is with you. And effort beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. That's what I think. And for all those people with my condition, with osteogenesis imperfecta, I want to tell you that you are not alone. You are not alone. Osteogenesis imperfecta is not the end. Osteogenesis imperfecta is just a few strokes of another color in our life. But there are more colors, and we are the artists.
You just gave me goosebumps. And what an incredible artist you are. I'm so thankful that we found you, that you found us, and that we are now having this honor to share your words and your work with the world. I can't thank you enough, Gustavo, for taking the time to help all of us become a bit more aware now. Thank you.
Thank you. The honor is for me, and I'm really happy to tell my story to another people, because I know that in one place, I don't know where, there is someone feeling like how I feel some in the past, maybe alone, maybe feeling that no one is looking at you, no one understands you. So I want to be a light for other people.